NASCAR fans giving President Trump a hero's welcome at the Daytona 500, where 47 put the pedal to the metal, taking the beast around the track.
This is your favorite president. I'm a big fan. I am a really big fan of you people that you do this.
We have spirit all over the world, this spirit again. We brought it back, and it's been less than 4 weeks. So you'll see what we do in a little period of time. It's going to only get better, but this is very exciting. So Daytona was fantastic. The crowd was amazing. The people love that sport, and they're wonderful people that run it. And they had a little rain delay, but we'll go home and watch it, I guess. Or some of you will, and others will try and create peace throughout the world. Do you have any questions, please?
President Trump's also driving laps around the Democrats who can't keep up with his record-breaking first month in office. Hakeem Jeffries was left speechless after being confronted with Trump's high approval rating. Check this out.
63% favor federal government's recognition of only 2 sexes. 60% favor deporting immigrants who entered the United States illegally. Is there anything you are seeing that Trump is doing that you are in favor of?
Let me say, as it relates to all of those issues, we're just at the beginning. The price of eggs is skyrocketing out of control. Inflation is on the way up. That was the core promise that's been broken. With respect to immigration, listen, we have to secure the border.
Judge Janine, we'll go to you to talk about the Daytona 500. I know you like to put the pedal to the metal. It's good to see the president out there at an event like this. We haven't seen Joe Biden do something like that.
You know, when I saw the president, when all of us saw the president at the Daytona 500, I couldn't help but think what it was like. Remember during COVID, we all wanted to leave our homes or our apartments, and we wanted to go out, we wanted to go to the movies, we wanted to do something public. And then that movie came out, Top Gun Maverick with Tom Cruise, and we felt like it's America again. You know, we're out there and we're flying jets. Well, you know, I had the same reaction when I saw the president in the Beast on the racetrack there. You know, it was Donald Trump. It was, you know, full throttle. And, you know, we came out of the doldrums. You know, 4 years of dark Joe Biden not moving. He got elected behind a mask. He got elected hiding in the basement. And we're seeing the president at the Super Bowl, at the UFC, at the Army-Navy game, and now at Daytona. It's not even 4 weeks yet. It's 4 weeks today. But, you know, the same spirit of America that brought us out of COVID when we were so excited is what I'm seeing now. He's energetic. He's vibrant. He's nonstop. He's the kind of president who is not scared. The guy took a bullet. He's not scared to walk out in public. He was at the infield. He was in public there when he was talking to the press. And we should be, I think, so grateful that he won, that we now feel energized ourselves. And I have to tell you, there's one cute little story there. Carolina, who was with her grandfather, President Trump. I guarantee that in a couple of years, she's going to be driving the Beast. That little girl that the president was holding hands with is the toughest, strongest, fiercest little girl I've ever met. And I'm loving what I'm seeing. And, you know, the interesting thing is the president is turning these things into his own rallies.
Yeah, you got a crowd of what, almost 500,000 people baked in, Greg. Did you watch the Daytona 500?
Absolutely. You know, if Joe had done that, it would have been in a hearse and the blinker would still be on. Of course, if it was Kamala, they'd stop for a roadie. Trump has essentially destroyed the Democratic Party, but before that, he also destroyed the Republican Party. So all the Dems are experiencing is what we already went through. You just need to admit that. Sometimes I just want to shake the remaining sane Democrats and saying, what are you? Because right now, for the last 8 years, you were anti-Trump, and that's not doing any good. You've indulged the whims of deranged activists for 8 years. That didn't work. And your whole hoax matrix has imploded. Look at how quickly the Pete Hegseth hoax just imploded. He's drinking at the podium. That thing was gone before it had any traction. So I said this on Friday. I'm going to keep saying it. My new role here is to give Democrats advice because we get the most viewers. Rather than trashing them, I'm going to help them. because that's the kind of person I am.
You
as
really
you know.
are so nice.
First of all, the Dems have to let go of what's killing them, which is obviously the remaining wokeness. And I go back to my zombie analogy. In every zombie movie, the hero struggles against becoming a zombie, when in fact, if he just lets the zombie bite him, it's over with. The zombies leave you alone, and you can work your way up the zombie ranks, become a zombie bureaucrat, get a good zombie consulting fee. That's what the Dems did with the woke virus. They let themselves get bit rather than resist. That only works if all of America complied, but they didn't. So now you got to unbite yourself. Now, in order to do that, and this is Jessica can I think agree with me on this. The Dems live off praise. Republicans don't, because we are so used to being called evil. We've been called evil since day one. Reagan was compared to Hitler. I remember that. So we're used to being the bad guy. So the new Democratic Party has to realize that their survival will not require praise. Praise doesn't build anything. You learn that from 2024. No amount of accolades from the woke, created anything. Didn't create jobs. It didn't make safer streets. It didn't stop any wars. It was ephemeral. It just dealt with your emotions. So you have to stop operating from worrying about activists being upset with you, because it doesn't help. Your big challenge, and we talked about this in the green room a while ago. The big challenge, Trump has found the middle ground on every issue, and he called it common sense. So what that did is it imploded the left versus right structure. You can't get left or right on the high ground. That's why it's a high ground. So there's no left or right. So how do you outflank that? You can't. So you end up having to find new ground. They need to find issues that Trump hasn't already picked over. And that's a challenge, because it's like, when it comes to issues for the Democrats, it's like going to Walmart on Saturday after Black Friday. Trump has gone through everything. So, there are some issues that are going to come up that the Democrats could reshape their party around, but I don't want to help them yet.
Yeah, it's not water pressure in the showers. It's not straws, Jessica. You guys are going to have to dig deep. Your name was invoked. Does your party thrive on praise?
I like it. I love some affirmation. My mom texts me every day during the show so that I have a friend.
My mom does, and I have an enemy.
That's true. My mom and your mom.
Right.
She still loves you, but obviously is hugely disappointed.
Would be nice to hear it from her once in a while.
I'll message her and say that you'd like to hear from her in a positive direction.
Thank you.
I don't hate everything that Greg said. I also just think on these issues, you could take the L and be kind of magnanimous about it. If I was Hakeem Jeffries, I would say, if you are on the wrong side of even a 60-40 issue, I know, Dana, we go with 80-20 or 90-10, but
on the
some of these where you just say, we don't need to have this fight right now. The American people have spoken. We're not going to be showing up at the ballot box for another 2 years. Let's see how this goes. This is what my party is about, right? And Greg, when you say let's find some new issues, I think the issues are going to be the same. People vote on the economy, right? They vote on immigration. So we need to stake out what our position is, have common sense messaging that really lifts up the average American, get back working class voters, and go from there. I do want to say something about Daytona. And, I'm fully aware that President Trump, this is a big victory. They have control of all three not branches, but houses, even though it's only a slim majority in the House. But, a lot of Americans were having a really bad weekend because of these storms. So over 10 people passed away because of these storms that were hitting the eastern side of the United States. 9 alone dying in Kentucky, people drowning in their cars, tens of thousands without power. President Trump signed the emergency declaration, but he didn't, as far as I know, put out a statement. He didn't go out there. He's not going to meet the families, as far as I have heard. And you say, if Joe Biden had done this, if Joe Biden had shown up at the Daytona 500 while there were people living under emergency declarations and passing away in Georgia, a tree fell into a guy's house and ended up killing him.
Do you think this is a fair comparison?
Oh my God.
That you're
Why?
taking?
Oh my
you're taking.
God.
This is not a a hurricane event. You're talking about storms. So he needs to respond to every single death?
No.
Then he wouldn't be president.
Well, he needs to, I think, say something when the whole point was criticizing Joe Biden for absolutely everything that he ever did. I mean, you
he
said that
never
if you
did anything. Start with North Carolina.
That's not true. We've gone through it multiple times about how quickly he signed emergency declarations at this stand.
How about East Palestine?
How about you just say that maybe you shouldn't be driving around a race car track when this is going on?
No.
But that's like, you know what that is? You know what that is? That's like saying when
that.
there is news going on the 5, how dare you have one more thing? You know, when people go, oh my God, the economy's in and they're doing a pet segment. No, we also do 57 minutes of everything else. Trump does so many things in a day that him driving around in a car doesn't even amount to 1%.
And they had already done the disaster declaration. I don't think anybody in Kentucky thinks that they're not doing it, not going to be there for them. They're the ones who went into North Carolina in the first week of the administration because the Biden administration, they felt like they had been left behind. I don't want to talk about that because I think it's a ridiculous thing, especially East Palestine. They never went. And then it became a whole issue of they never went. And we didn't say that it was not okay for him to go ahead and like ride his bike at the beach. We do a show every Monday morning. So that means on Sunday, you have to look for material for what you're going to talk about in the morning. Like, what's the news of the weekend? In the last 3 weeks, we've been able to say, wow, Trump did this, and he went to that. And now we have NASCAR. And then also, oh, you know what? He's going to do tariffs, and he's doing something else. And there were raids in Colorado. And then it's like there's so much news. The visuals of what this White House is doing are so important. And it's such a contrast. Think about flopping on the beach for 4 days. Think of the fact like falling off a bike. Like all of those things are the visuals that stick in your mind. And for the younger people who are now thinking, oh, let me give the Republican Party a chance, this might be the first time in their lives that they ever felt positive about America, that they are enjoying patriotism. So you've got the hockey game. Saturday night, I was like, wait, what is this thing again? I'm like, well, I don't know, the big hockey game. And everybody's watching it, and everyone's into it. And we had lots of different generations at this one party on Saturday night. And I was looking around going, America can feel like a great place to be. And you need a little bit of leadership. You don't have to be obsessed with your government. You just have to feel a little bit of that positivity. The Democrats have shown that they're on the wrong side of every issue. Now, all of a sudden, Hakeem Jeffries is worried about egg prices.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that on inflation, my last point here, I know we're running late. On inflation, people have really long memories about that, and they blame the president that was in power. It's one of the reasons that the Republicans won 3 elections in a row after that. Then they lost a couple, then they came back, and that kind of went back and forth. I don't think people are going to forget the inflation issue because it's still hurting them. And more. But I'll stop talking.
All right. And we beat the Canadians, Jessica. Who were you rooting for?
Jesse.
I don't like hockey generally, but the Americans.
Thank you. The correct answer is the Americans.
Okay, great.